Okay, triangle inequalities is the idea that the sum of any two sides of a triangle, so if I add x plus y, will always be greater than the third side. And if I added y plus z, that would be greater than x. And if I added, what do I have left? X plus z, that would be greater than y. Any two sides of a triangle added up are greater than a third. And we've talked about this a little bit. Now, why is that? Well, let me take one side and let me say it to be 15. Okay? Then let me look at two other sides, one being 8 and the other being 7. So basically, meaning that 8 plus 7, 15. How could I ever have two sides that are the same length not connected to this side? So basically, as soon as I pull this point here up, as soon as I start to pull this up, what's going to happen? Let's say the green and the red are connected. Let's say I start to pull this up. What's going to happen? Well, the points are actually, if they were staying connected and we're on a track, the points would actually start to pull away. They would start to pull away from the triangle. If I were to pull this up, I'm pulling, like, think of it like a string, and I'm just pulling this up, these points would actually slide this way. They would no longer be connected to the ends of the 15 side. So, and this shape here is obviously not a triangle. Yeah, there's a triangle here, but if these are my vertex, that's not a triangle. So what needs to happen? Well, if I'm going to create a length of 15, if I'm going to create a length of 15, and I want to have a triangle, well, these sides are going to have to be longer in length. So let's say I wanted to connect to here. Okay, maybe I would make this 10, and let's say I would want to connect to here, I would have to make this 9. And if you see, 10 plus 9, 19, that's greater than 15. 15 plus 9, that's greater than 10. Now, what's going to be asked of you is to say, okay, let's look at a triangle with sides 5 and 10. Shut this door. 5 and 10, and I want to say what are possible values for x? What's the range? Meaning what are all basically a range being, what is this area in which I can put in all these values and it be true? That's what a range is. A range is basically, if this is, let's say, let's make this 8 and 15. A range would be all the numbers between 8 and 15, all these numbers in which something could actually work. Now, I know that any two sides added up need to be greater than a third. So if I add 5 plus 10, that's going to give me 15. And I know that side needs to be greater than the third. So the biggest this side could be would be 14. So I know that x has to be less than 15. I know that this side has to be less than 15, because if it were 5 plus 10 is 15. These two sides added together are not greater than the third. So if this was 5 and 10 and this was 15, I would have that scenario again where here's the 15, here's your 5, here's your 10, and I can't pull this point up because these vertexes would no longer be connected. Now, I say, okay, I have my greatest value of my range. I found basically what's the biggest x can be. The biggest x can be is 14. What's the smallest x can be? Well, let me think about that. Okay, I know any number plus 10 is going to be greater than 5, so I'm okay there. Well, what's the smallest this could be so that when I add it to 5, it would be greater than 10? Meaning, if I put a 5 here, 6. If I put a 5 here, 5 plus 5 is 10. That's not greater than the third side. So I would actually need x to be greater than 5. And if I just test those values out, you know, I want to check my work, 5 and 10, and I have, okay, let me try a 6. 6 plus 5, greater than 10. 5 plus 10, greater than 6. 6 plus 10, greater than 5. All three check out. Now, you can look at any sides and say, okay, let's say I give you sides 8, 3, and 10. And I say, is this, or are these the actual sides of triangle? Can I use this for the sides of triangle? I say, well, 8 plus 10 is greater than 3. 3 plus 10 is greater than 8. And then we could say 3 plus 8 is greater than 10. Yeah, that works out. But let's say I change this value to 12. And I said, okay, 8 plus 12, 3 plus 12. 8 plus 12 is greater than 3? Good. 3 plus 12 is greater than 8? Good. 3 plus 8, is that greater than 12? No. This is not a triangle. You would say whatever, false, or not a triangle in this instance here. Okay? And now sometimes we're also going to start